Hello, good morning, at least it's the morning where I'm from, and welcome to my IELTS course again. This is the 6th session and I'm your teacher, Joseph Emil. In the last 5 sessions, we have taken the listening module and finished most of the reading module, if not all of it. We just have one exercise and then we'll carry on. If you haven't understood much of the reading module, by the way, okay, you don't have to worry. There will be lots of practice at the end of this course. You just learned how to solve each and every one of the question types in the test. All right? Next time, or actually at the end of the course, you will be learning how to solve the entire test, because as I said in the beginning, this is an endurance test. All right? As much as it is of understanding English and so on, this is an endurance test. You'll have to be able to keep solving the test and keep going on for 2.5 hours non-stop, apart from the beginnings and so on. So anyway, now we'll go on for the writing module. So if you haven't prepared a pen and paper already, please pause the video and take some time to prepare some empty sheets of paper so that we will practice together how to do some writing. In this writing course, if we're lucky, if I'm lucky, I'll be able to finish explaining task 1 and task 2. In terms of, shall we say, task 1, I will be able to finish it, and task 2, I'll finish certain points until the conclusion of the second task, without going into so much detail as to how to analyze a certain topic and so on. So, let's take a look now at the writing module. By the way, by the reading module, the end of it. By the way, in the last session, session 5, I have said that the topic about the cinema and the writing for the cinema, the playwrights and the novelists, the type of topic was a case study. If so, then I apologize. The correct answer is actually a discussion. A discussion is when you talk about the positive and negative aspects of a certain topic, but a case study is when you analyze a subject, all right, and then find the problems in it and try to solve them. This of course is known by those who made projects in engineering and so on, because generally an engineer is concerned with solving problems. Regardless, let's take a look at this book now. It might be a bit controversial, but nevertheless we will take a look at it. We will not be looking at it in lots of detail. We'll just analyze what the man is trying to say and then answer 3 questions, just that. And this will be the end of the reading session, of the reading module. Alright, let's take a look at the questions first. Choose the appropriate answers A to D and 11 to 13 on your answer sheet. So again, the answer sheet is 11 and then 12 and then, just a moment, and then 13. Here we are. They will be like this, and we just have to write down the letter that corresponds to our answer. Now, according to the writer, the book should be read several times in short bursts. A burst is when, shall we say, a group of things, or when you, let's say, in short bursts. A short burst is when you do something in intermittent times. Okay, you don't read it over a long period. You just read it, then stop, read, then stop, read, then stop, and so on. With an open mind is a mind that is someone that can, shall we say, be open to new ideas, new styles, new differences of opinion. All right. So this is a new or an open mind by an experienced reader, someone who read a lot of books. The book contains, I'm reading now number 12. All right, just a moment. The book contains offensive material. Again, offensive material is material that might not appeal to many people. Offensive, all right? When someone, for example, talks about World War II and then says something about or says something that can make other people feel upset or sad. This is offensive material. Complex story, a complicated one, not easy to understand. Lifelike characters are realistic characters. And imaginative humor. Imaginative is when you imagine a situation, and humor, of course, your sense of humor is your ability to laugh and so on. All right, then some readers have failed to appreciate Okri's style. Okay, his style is a bit different maybe, and then they say his style is different, I don't like it. Understand Okri's message, right? What he tries to tell you or what he tries to teach you, and recognize the setting of the book. By the way, setting here means the location or where the book or the location of the events in the book. All right, the location of events. And finish reading the book. Oh, okay, the book is too long. Now, let's take a quick look now at the writing. Again, we will try and read very quickly, and then we will try to answer the questions in order. Astonishing the Gods by Ben Okri is not for the habitually cynical. Cynical is someone who doubts everything, who says everything is a lie, right? Or someone who does not believe quickly. Okay? Someone who does not believe quickly is a cynical person. All right? Nor, even if you're not a habitual cynic, is it the kind of book that should be read on a day when the real world is likely to intrude. Intrude is when you enter somewhere without being allowed. Here, intrude is simply said that real life can come to you suddenly in the form of a phone call, or suddenly someone breaking into your room and telling you, we need some groceries or so. Okay? This book oozes escapism. Oozes escapism. When something oozes, it leaks. For example, you can fill a bread with honey. Okay? You can fill a loaf of bread with honey, a lot of honey, to the extent that it would ooze. Alright? The bread, alright, oozes honey. So it is so full of escapism that it oozes. That's the meaning of ooze. Alright? What about escapism? It comes from escape. Escaping reality. Escapism is when you try and escape reality into so much imagination. So much imagination that no one would appreciate it actually. Okay? That is escapism. But it isn't easy or simple to digest. So, the book oozes escapism, and it is not easy or simple to digest. Digest is understand, of course. So, to avoid irritation is when you are irritated and annoyed by something, do not try to read this book, this short but intense novel, on your way to work, or at times when you might have to stop to answer telephone calls or to cope with domestic or other practicalities. Right? It comes from Practicality comes from practical, things that you need to do in life. Right? Practical is amali. Okay? Also, avoid it like the plague. This is a very funny expression and also very common. Avoid something like the plague. Like the plague. All right? By the way, plague is a very infectious disease, a very epidemic disease. Okay, the plague here happened, the Black Plague. If you know it, the Black Plague, you can just Google it, this one. The Black Plague, all right, is what happened in the Middle Ages in Europe, when mice spread a very infectious disease all across Europe and millions died. Anyway, this is avoided like the plague is a very common expression. If you're hooked on straightforward, okay, straightforward, linear narratives. Linear narratives are narratives that are in a line, that you understood every single part of it without having to imagine, okay? Or if you're the sort of person who can only identify with trees that are trees and buildings that don't dissolve into thin air. So it definitely seems that the novel includes trees that are not trees and buildings that dissolve into thin air. Intriguing, but confusing. Anyway, apologies for appearing to labor this point about who should read Opry and about when and how he should be read. But he has been so harshly criticized by the impatiently earthbound. Okay, criticized is when someone, or criticized is when someone says something is not good. ينتقد. By the impatiently earthbound is someone whose mind is on earth level, right? He never thinks, or he never thinks. He never has so much imagination that he seems crazy, right? Earthbound. I think there is an expression in Arabic that says "راجل ده دماغه في السحاب," or دماغه في السماء. Yes, he is flying in imagination. That the point cannot be made strongly enough. But he has been so harshly criticized by the impatiently earthbound that the point cannot be made strongly enough. If you aren't capable of, or not in the mood for, locking yourself away for a few hours and allowing your mind to drift in a dreamlike state down magical, mythical avenues, you'd best settle for a book with a normal plot, tangible landscapes and effortlessly understandable characters. So it seems that this book is very imaginative, it's very escapism-like, that if you don't like fiction, or insane fiction to be more accurate, you'd rather avoid this book. So he's trying to talk about a certain book. He's describing a book, and let's see what his opinions about this book are. According to the writer, the book should be read several times in short bursts with an open mind or by an experienced reader. Now, he never mentioned something like several times or in short bursts, to be honest, okay? He only read it, okay, you have to lock yourself in a room for a few hours to read this book. It's a short book, but it's not read in short bursts, all right? It's not read by an experienced reader. It's not mentioned. So the correct one is with an open mind, all right? What about the next one? The book contains offensive material, a complex story, lifelike characters. This is definitely not like a lifelike character. Imaginative humor. We didn't mention anything about humor. Is it an offensive material or complex story? He didn't say anything about offensive material, by the way. Okay, he only mentioned the complex story. All right, a story that is not understandable by people who want a straightforward plot. Okay, story can also be referred to as plot. plot. All right. So plot or story have the same meaning. All right. Now let's carry on. Some readers have failed to appreciate Okri's style, or understand Okri's message, recognize the setting of the book, or finish reading the book. Again, the book didn't say anything about setting or place, or finish reading the book. This is not mentioned. Okri's attempt to deliver a certain morale or risala. Okay, he's not trying to teach you something. Okay, he is very imaginative. His style is very different than that of other people that write straightforward stories. So the correct answer is CBA. All right, CBA. So this is the end of the reading module. Again, reading modules are a bit difficult to understand, all right, especially the questions of yes, no, and not given. All right, in the beginning, you are just asked to find the paragraph that says where the sentence is that explains something, or find specific types of information. But at the end, you are asked to find whether a writer has said something or said its opposite or not. All right? True, false, or yes, no, not given. Remember not to say true or false. All right? When he says answer yes, no, and not given, all right, you must answer yes, no, and not given. Do not answer with true, false, and not given. All right, true, false, and not given is wrong. You have to answer yes, no, or not given. Okay, of course, yeah. So this concludes the reading session, and then we move on to the one I dread the most. Personally, I don't like the writing module. Personally, because it's very short. The writing module is only 1 hour, during which you will be asked to write 150 words, all right, and 250 words in 2 separate tasks. So that's 400 words. 400 words in just 1 hour. Okay, 40 lines in just 1 hour. It's very difficult, but not unmanageable. All right, not unmanageable. You can solve more or less in the time given you do lots and lots and lots of practice, which is something we will try to do here, but we might not be able to do it personally very well. You just have to practice yourself, okay, at home, all right, and try writing as many writing modules as possible. Okay. Now, had this been a live session, I would have been able to take your recordings or your writing sessions and corrected them myself. But now, the best thing I can do is to just make you write some reports here, okay, while pausing the video, and then I will show some of the model answers, the ones that actually take a band 9 score. I have never seen a band 9 score or someone get a band 9 score. The best anyone did was 7 or so, right? And some of the teachers have even got a 7.5. Okay, some of the IELTS instructors have got a 7.5. So it's very difficult to get the correct point, which is why we will need to approach this session with care. All right, this is probably the one you will need to practice the most. The writing module, as a student at a college or university, or as someone who is at a certain business, all right, you don't have to be a student, just have to be someone who speaks in English. You will have to produce a lot of written material. Some of this may be in the form of short essays or reports. Other pieces of writing will be longer and require considerable planning and attention to detail. The devil is in the detail. Be very careful with this. Detail is very important here. Alright? We will see why later. It will therefore be important for you to be able to express yourself clearly, write in a variety of styles and organize your ideas carefully. Okay? So, if we are going to just write this in a short form, okay? First, attention to detail. Alright? Detail. Then, we need to organize the ideas very carefully. Alright? We have to we also have to be accurate in our writing. Be accurate. And I'll explain how to be accurate then, next. Alright? So that your message is not obscured by a lot of grammatical errors. Now, take a look at these expressions. Your message is not obscured. Fairly here, consider, therefore, to be able to express yourself. The main point of the IELTS reading session, and the speaking one as well, is to be able to get your point across. Get your point across to the people reading or listening to you. So, if you have grammatical errors that do not affect your meaning, okay, you will lose marks of course, but not so much. If you have few grammatical errors that can actually make your message very different or make you ununderstandable, okay, some people cannot understand you, you will lose lots of marks. So here's the point, okay, you have to do all of, or direct all of these strategies, alright, and detail and organize your idea and so on and so on and so on, alright, so on and so forth, in order to make yourself clear to the reader, okay, make yourself clear, which is why in the speaking test I will also ask you to be very clear, okay, in your speaking to your teacher. Accent will not matter, just as long as you are clear. Alright, IELTS tests your ability to produce two quite different pieces of writing in a fairly short period of time. The test is divided into two parts, and you are allowed 1 hour to complete both. So the writing, 1 hour. Now we have, of course, two types of tests. The reading and, writing, the academic and the general. Okay? Let's take a look here at the academic module first. Okay? By the way, this lesson focuses, or this session, okay, this single session focuses on the general writing. Alright? If you want the academic module, or if you're taking the academic module, I will ask you to skip until the second task of this session, and the academic module will be the next after it. Alright? So again, I will take writing task 1 general, then writing task 2, then the academic module, writing task 1. By the way, writing task 2 is the same, or more or less the same, it has the same idea, okay, between tasks 1 and 2, between the academic and the general. So again, in the academic test, writing task 1 will be, you'll be given a task based on some graphical or pictorial information. You will be given a graph or a pie chart or a histogram or a bar graph. All of these types of data are provided in, not of course simultaneously, just one single piece of information will be provided in the IELTS academic test task 1 writing. Okay? What about the first task in general? Here it is. If you're planning to take the general training module, the writing test is different. You are allowed 1 hour to complete 2 tasks. 1 hour, 2 tasks. Again, 150 words, 250 words, as in the academic module. However, task 1 is always a letter. And by the way, the letter can be can be formal or informal. All right? It can be formal or informal. More on that later. The difference between formal and informal will be later. Now let's talk about task 2, which is an essay based on a given topic. He will give you a very small piece of writing. I will give you examples later. And then you will need to write your opinion regarding this writing. All right? Your opinion or whatever you are needed to write will be written in the question itself. So be absolutely sure that you understand every single word of what is being said in the question in task 2 and task 1 as well. So the second task is more demanding. You are expected to produce a written argument on a given topic and to organize your answer clearly, giving some examples to support your points. You'll have to write at least 250 words, and as task 2 is longer than task 1, you are advised to spend approximately 40 minutes on this task as opposed to 20 minutes on the first task. So you need to write 150 words in 20 minutes and 250 words in 40 minutes. And this adds up to 1 hour or 60 minutes. All right? Here we are. So let's carry on and see what types of questions we expect. First, let's begin with task 1, general. Letters. A letter. Okay? A letter is a piece of paper that you write to to someone and send through the mail. Of course, this method became a bit outdated in favor of emails, but by the way, an email can also be written in the form of a letter. All right? Letters are an important form of communication. Of course, you can replace this word with emails. All right? It would not matter. All right? All right? Emails, because they will also have the recipient address here and then thanks and all that. Of course, if we are talking about a formal email. Anyway, an important form of communication. I'm going to explain what formal and informal is later. In the general training writing task 1, you are given a situation and tested on your ability to write a letter in an appropriate style in order to achieve a certain outcome. You need to include all the necessary details so that the purpose of your letter is clear and the reader can easily understand your message. All the necessary details are all of the details that are given or that are asked of you, plus any that you think are necessary or that you believe are necessary. All right? You need to make it in an appropriate style. All right? Formal and informal. So, it is important to remember that, again, a letter is a form of communication. If you fail to get your point across, you lose your mark. Form of communication. When you talk to your boss, you use different words than when you talk to your friend or when you talk to a young boy or your son. Formal or semi-formal letters are always written with a particular purpose in mind. You do not write to your boss asking him how he's doing. All right? You write to your boss and saying, "Dear head of sales department, how are you doing? I like you," and blah blah blah. This is absolutely not right. Before we move on to the examples, I'm going to write you some basic details on what a letter should look like. Okay? A letter begins almost always with "dear." Okay, dear. I don't know why the colors are a bit different now. Just a moment. So we always begin the letter with dear. And then we write the recipient name in this place, so whatever. By the way, the recipient name can be in two styles. Okay, the first one is, I'm going to use the blue one for formal, right? I'm going to use blue ink for formal, and I'm going to use this indigo purple thingy ink for informal. Okay, so the blue ink will be used for formal, and the indigo or purple thing here is informal. So if we are going to use the formal writing, okay, formal writing, we need to address the man with his title. Title can be Mr. or Mrs. or Miss or MS. Alright? Mr., Mrs., Miss or Ms. is the MS. Okay? Ms. This is the title. By the way, Mr., okay, you know everyone, of course, you can also